That's weird, man.
He knew the world would not be the same. Few people laughed. Few people cried. Most people were silent. I remembered the line from the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Vishnu is trying to persuade the prince that he should do his duty, and to impress him, takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds."
Hey, how you doing? It's been a minute. I blame it on Kahlil personally.
Nice little summer height.
No.
Oh, no, see, there's two of us here, and one of us comes from a family that can, just nobody work for a couple months and travel around. So guess which one it is?
Well, I wouldn't quite put it that way.
I'm just
but,
saying, we don't take huge family vacations for that long. Like you
Well,
guys.
we don't normally, especially since like COVID and stuff, do vacations. We haven't done like a family vacation forever, so that was like catching up on old. So it was my parents' 40th anniversary. Shout out to mom, dad.
Shout out to the folks.
So all the old relatives come climbing out of the woodwork, which was awesome, including. Well, I don't want to be like. I mean, I'm not going to reveal anything crazy or whatever, but I've got some family who's in the biz, and I got to meet with their parents again, see how he was doing. My cousin Kyle Bradstreet, he was on the he worked on Mr. Robot from USA, the show, one of my favorite TV shows, and he was working on the new Secret Invasion by Marvel, which is like a 6-part episode thing. And I keep meaning to reach out to him because I think it would be fun to talk with him, especially about. I don't know if he'd be down to do the podcast. It would be cool. But he is the kind of guy where it's interesting. He worked on Secret Invasion. And then there's all this, like, whether it is or isn't, a lot of talk online, whether or not, like, is this, like, this is interestingly timed with all the UFO stuff. And, like, they talk about reptilians and that and all that shit. And so I'm just kind of curious his experience with that, And
the day I turned on the news and saw Tupac's hologram dancing on the stage, I knew that one day they were going to project some shit up in the sky and tell us something was going on.
Well, you've seen, is it Dubai? Somewhere in the Middle East, they've got the Barbie life-size one. And it was, like, she's stepping out of the box and shit.
Oh, no, it's too much.
Yeah, it was intense. So that technology's for sure there. It's already being used by major advertisers and corporations, Mattel, whatever, Hasbro. So, yeah, that if they can do that, they can definitely fake there's a huge wave now. Like, there's been for years, but now you're seeing so many more UFO videos. We were even talking about that, like, how can you trust, which UFO videos are real now more than ever? You know what I mean?
How can you trust your own eyes? Because that shit now is really scary looking.
Well, yeah, and even with video editing, I've always thought that with, like, in fact, that was part of why I wanted to learn special effects stuff was, and I'm not like a specialist by any means, but the more I've learned about it, I could kind of critique UFO videos that I would come across and go, okay, well, it's probably not this because of this. It's moving like that. But nowadays, in the age of AI and in the age of the government saying it's okay to now believe in UFOs, whatever agenda they're going to have, it's just like you don't know who to trust, like who to listen to, Like, do you like that one dude? I think we talked about him before. I forget his name, Dr. Greer, I think, Stephen Greer.
Stephen Greer.
He's been on Joe Rogan. And
he's the
wears glasses.
He's the disclosure guy.
Yeah, he did all the major UFO, as far as, like, most successable commercially, and also I think just, groundbreaking, or at least, mainstream hadn't done that info before.
The most well-known of the things he did was called Undisclosed.
Yeah, I think I saw that one. I think I've seen all of his
stocks. It was really good. I've seen them all, but Undisclosed kind of messed me. It shook me up a little bit.
Yeah.
I go, oh, shit. Like... because I figured it was just us tinfoil hat guys. I didn't know that we had a contingent at that level, like high-powered guys with these high-up jobs and well-respected, well-known guys. They're like, no, this isn't bullshit. So, and then that makes me think, like, could that be the false flag? There's so much disinformation.
Well, like the Stars Academy, I know, which is the one that the singer from Blink-182, who's got the Freemason tattoo and all that shit, and he's involved with that group. And I remember 6 months before the 2019 or whatever it was, Pentagon footage or Navy footage, it was black and white, they ran it, and they would run it again, acting like, oh, this is breaking news. It's like, you've been running it for a year, like it's new information. But 6 months before that, online, and the people I would listen to in the independent space were like, just you watch, in 6 months, they're going to start doing their version of disclosure and everything. And that's when To the Stars Academy was announced. And they're definitely pushing the aliens way of looking at it, which I always say, like, even with the UFO thing, it's like there's multiple answers from what I've now. They're not all one thing. And same with the alien stuff. I'm hesitant when it's like the government telling us to believe in aliens or how we should react to it at all.
I have a theory when it comes to that.
Yeah.
About them telling us that it's okay to believe in aliens, and you see all this different stuff.
Yeah.
My theory is that it's not even a distraction. It's not even like a whole, hey, look over this way while we're doing the regular
Sure.
thing.
Yeah.
Excuse me. A matter of fact, while I'm talking.
Oh yeah, we're sponsored. We're not sponsored, but we're unofficially sponsored
by Fever Tree Premium Ginger Beer.
It's pretty damn good. That in Bundaberg, but Fever Tree is the more readily available one. And we're drinking, of course.
And Jameson, as always.
Because we're Irish as fuck up in this podcast.
Irish is,
In fact, we're still #1 in Dublin. Shout out to Dublin, Ireland. You're still our biggest podcast downloads, dude.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. So
hey, invite us down. And we'll go directly from there.
Absolutely.
Always Sunny style. We'll just.
Dude, we got to do.
All those guys are on hiatus. We're cheaper than them anyway.
Yeah.
So you can just invite us down.
Yeah.
You got a bunch of castles laying around. We can sleep in one of those.
That'd be awesome. Dude, podcast from a castle or from a pub.
Yeah.
I've always wanted a podcast from a pub, dude. Ever since I went there, I was like, this has got to be where it's at. We'll do the Ring of Kerry. So Dublin's awesome because it's got nightlife. It's London, New York, all in one. And then it's got all the culture and shit. But when you do the Ring of Kerry, you find like the town still in the 1980s with like phone booths and shit. So that's the kind of pub we should go to because it's always just like 8 people in there spread out, and it's like, hey, can we record in the booth? We'll keep it down, And I guarantee you there'll be. I mean, it's all about the crack, okay? Not the cocaine crack, but it's about the good, not the ass crack, okay? It's about good crack with an I in there, and that's what the Irish call good vibes, essentially, okay? So. Unprepared, 100% off the dome. You're welcome. But yeah, it's the shit, man. I think Ireland, there's something special about. They got the storytellers, they got the musicians, they got the writers and shit. They
all
so we got to do it
deep, and they got all the alcoholism too. So I'm always down for that.
It releases the demons and the
Well, they call it spirits for a reason. So.
And the gems of wisdom. Yeah, absolutely.
So, but I'm all the way down for the Ireland trip. And that can be made possible as soon as our fans want it to be made possible.
That's right. It's all up to you, okay?
Just invite us down.
All right.
Hey,
look,
come on down, guys, and you guys be here for a while. Just come over here. I'll come.
Are you subscribed yet? Be a hell of a lot cooler if you were.
Hell of a lot cooler.
Just hit that shiny subscribe button for just $9.99 a month.
Hit that subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Hit that follow, and
share us, dude. Share rockfin.com/that'sweirdman. Follow us on the boob tubes with the. Oh wait, that's the OnlyFans. We can't do that yet. But follow us on YouTube. YouTube.com/@that'sweirdman1984. So yeah, I know. Well, you know how it is. But I can't think. That's how when it is when they have like a podcast, like a porn star. I'm just like trying to be like, oh, this is the other side. Of, like, there's like a barrier there, But anyway, where was I saying? You derailed me. So yeah, that's Weird Man 1984 on YouTube. Also Elsewhere TV on YouTube. I just want to make sure to push our shit. But Rockfin's where it's at. That's where you get all of our premium stuff. That's where you get fucking. The dope shit, as the kids call it, I believe, on the streets, right? Isn't the dope shit?
That's the parlance.
That's that new shit. Okay, we're that new shit.
Hot shit.
All right. We're dropping sketches. We had the Obama experience, the Barack Obama experience, which I dropped recently. I'll be honest, the voiceovers or the voice AI was fucking with me a little bit because sometimes they work great, and also it's just I don't usually do an Obama voice, believe it or not. So
I can do a decent one if you ask me to.
Let's see what you got.
I don't want to do it right now.
No, okay.
I can do a decent one.
Well, stay tuned, okay? Yeah. One of these days, he's going to do it. But you got some good impressions. Your Joan Rivers is solid, It
was my favorite line ever delivered from Barack Obama, who is a guy I don't particularly care for.
Oh, yeah.
For different reasons that aren't on this podcast. But There was this thing the first time he ran when he was running against who was that freaking McCain, and he had that chick running with him, Palin.
Yeah.
And she was going, what's the difference between a hockey mom and a pit bull? Remember that shit? Lipstick. And when Obama comes out, he goes, you put lipstick on a pig. It's still a pig.
So he was doing Trump before Trump then, politically speaking. Bro, he was doing the low shots.
He did
That's funny.
All the horrible shit that people call Trump.
And he was pro protecting the borders back then. That's what people forget is like shit flips so quick with politics, you know.
Bro, you could see it coming. You see it coming. It's just like, you know, and there's always one or two people that says, hey, check this out. This is what they're going to do. This is going to be the next big push.
Yeah.
And I swear during COVID, when the whistleblowers were letting us know about the BS and all the numbers being a lie and Fauci being
Alex Jones was right.
Fauci being a no good piece of shit with a stick stuck up his ass and all this different stuff that was going on. And they said, and just you watch, the next big thing we're going to talk about is climate change, now hot it is and all that shit.
Climate lockdowns, that's the new shit, which they were saying forever. They're like, that's never going to happen. And now, like, World Economic Forum, United Nations, it's always the same people. I love when they say, who's they? It's like, have you not fucking been paying attention? It's like, yeah, I get it's a complex question to answer, who's they, but it's like, it's also not. Like, we know the foundations,
I love when people
we know
say
the
who's
politicians.
they. You know who the fuck they
it's
is.
like, it's a long fucking list. We'll start with that. You know, that's why it's always, they get you on, like, well, it couldn't be the I think that's actually the key to having the different families, too, is like it's spread out enough where it's like, yeah, you can prove we all know each other, work together, but it's hard to say like what exact person is like
who is who
leading the charge, you know, and then it's impossible to like.
You can family tree it out. Like the thing I sent you yesterday about Schwab being like a Roth. Everybody knew that, but like just to see it like that, like directly, like he's a Rothschild.
And his kids are like totally on board with, you know, his worldview, even in a more militant sense. Like you can see with that shit, it's a very similar to like the way the Nazis would groom youth, and so they're even more radical. Same with like the woke shit with kids. Is like if you get, especially if it's your parent or whatever. I couldn't even imagine growing up in that household. You know, it's like we will take away the rights, and that is good. You know, but they're so passionate about, it, and they're like, oh, this is going to solve climate stuff. I'm like, okay, even if you buy into your own bullshit, it's just like, how do you justify all the evil shit that you're trying to do to people?
Yeah, well, science doesn't back up climate change. The scientists that they talk about when they say 97% of scientists agree about man-made, blah, 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 blah. There's like 2.5 billion or more. I think that's the number I remember. But it's in the billions of monies and grants and different stuff that's literally paid to these scientists. And the only way that money's going to keep coming, this specific group of people, is if they're giving up the data that's favorable with the view that you know what I'm saying? So basically, like, the minute you give us back a report that we don't like, that goes against what we're doing, we're going to X you off the list, and we're going to get another guy who'll agree with us, and that's all it is. Real science doesn't back up
academia,
climate change.
Medicine, I think it's become like that. It's been a long time.
The oceans aren't rising. You know? They're not. The oceans aren't rising.
Well,
the oceans aren't rising.
If you listen to ecologists who actually are supposed to take in all scientific disciplines into factoring it out, which I think anytime you're dealing with medicine or health or nature, you have to be comprehensive. And when I've listened to ecologists talk about it, unless they're like bought and paid for, they're like, yeah, you know, it's going up, but it's also part of this long wavelength of heat and cooling, and we're nowhere near the extremes.
No, there's cycles.
And here's the funny thing is, like, people think, oh, you don't care about the environment. I'm actually, you know, I grew up camping and doing scouts and all that shit. So I'm very pro taking care of the environment.
Jake's an Eagle Scout.
I'm an Eagle Scout, motherfucker. You coming for me? I'm coming for you. But yeah, what were we talking about? So I was thinking about we should talk about Jamie Foxx.
Let's talk about Jamie Foxx.
Because that's an interesting storyline. I think there's a lot of misinformation going around, but I think there's also like legitimate, not even conspiracies, but just like, hey, these circumstances are strange, you know? But what are your thoughts on that shit? Because he's come back, he's looking terrible. He looks like he got all his like vitamins drained from him. He's like, I was on tubes and shit. He did that movie, you know, they cloned Tyrone. So people were saying he's cloned. I'm not necessarily thinking he's cloned. I'm thinking more of like, you know, the rumor was that he had to get vaccinated and that he was forced to work a certain production. Mm-hmm. And then afterward, he basically had the equivalent of like a stroke. And so that's what I've heard. But I'd be interested to hear your take on that shit. Cause
that's what I got. That's what I heard so far.
Yeah.
And then for it to be, he's always, even before social media, Jamie Foxx is a very outgoing person, and he's always been very, very, very reachable. You know, he's not one of those guys that's like outside of the realm of somebody I could actually like go meet this guy. And
right.
talk. It's like he's one of those guys. So, but he's also here. You know, so he's here and he's there, and so that's why everybody always liked him. And then with social media, he just, you know, would juggernaut his way through because he was like a friend of the people and a friend of all of Hollywood and everybody. And he could sing and he throws these awesome parties and he's really, really funny. And then like, you know, like so many other people. Mm-hmm. And I thought that the COVID stuff had kind of like wound down as far as the shots. So for him to have to get, I mean, did all this happen like 3 months ago? Within the last 3 or 4 months?
Yeah, there was definitely enough. I mean,
who was still forcing people to get shots?
Well, the union. I mean, not the unions, but the unions were making it so that the production companies themselves, each production company could decide for itself. But no company or project that I heard of, like Barry on HBO, love the show. But when I was looking at like casting options during that time, especially during the height of it, but even like as recently as like 6 months ago and even a month ago, it's like you have to be vaccinated, you got to be double boosted.
That's crazy. Have you seen The Bubble?
Is it a movie?
Yes. It's
on
on
no,
Netflix.
I haven't seen it.
Keegan-Michael Key.
Oh, okay.
I'm not even going to do this now. We'll come back after you watch it because you're going to laugh your ass off. We'll watch it together.
Is this like a flat Earth thing?
No,
or no?
No.
Okay, I was picturing like dome and bubble
I don't
or whatever.
like when you do that because I haven't got you all the way around yet on the flat Earth thing.
No, I'm just asking a question. No, I was just like, oh, is it like like it's topically about that in some way?
It's topically. It's about this show, this movie franchise. It's really so. Imagine the equivalent of like a Fast and the Furious level movie franchise, Jurassic Park level movie franchise, and it's all the little inner workings and little mini dramas between the people that are actually on the cast and the directors and the people making the movie. And then COVID is there.
Okay.
And COVID shuts down Hollywood, and everybody needs this whole thing. And so then they have all these rules. They're going to go off and reunite the cast and go film this movie again. But COVID's going on.
Shit.
And so there's always you just have to see it.
Great concept.
I can't even give it justice how awesomely awesome it's one of those movies that you watch and then you sit back and look at yourself like you were stupid, but then you look at other people like they're really stupid. Like every time I see somebody with a mask on their face. Every single time. I'm of the opinion that now, if you have a mask on your face, you're just a creep trying to hide because there's no reason why you should still have a mask on your face. Your fucking butt buddy Fauci came and told you the World Health Organization said, you know, masks didn't do anything. That was just you guys jacking each other off. And the shots, not only don't the shots keep you from getting COVID, it's like you get super duper COVID and giant 40-foot blood clots. So there you go. But there's still people walking around when they cough, say, oh man, I think I need to go get a shot. I'm like, are you not fucking paying attention to what's going on in the world? I'm not one of those people that can be talked into anything brand new.
Yeah.
I don't even want like the first year run of a car.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
A new phone even, you know, sometimes you're like, let other people be the guinea pigs.
The people that always run after those things, those are the people who are proud to go get their shots.
Yep.
Those are the guys who wear the fucking gay-ass I voted stickers. And they went and got their shots and said, yeah, man, I got vaccinated. Why? Then you don't even have a job. Like, why'd you go get a vaccine? You don't have a job and you don't travel?
Exactly.
Why are you getting vaccinated? I travel for work. And I'm going to tell you right now that all this shit is fucking swept under the rug. All of my shit was fake. I made up all my shit on my iPhone. I made fake travel documents for my fucking COVID shit so I could travel abroad because I thought it was ridiculous. I wasn't going to do it. I was really scared. I said, well, there's no way I'm going to go take the shot because I stand on what I stand on. I don't fucking renege because somebody offers me something good. So if I tell you, you know what, fuck this guy, fuck that guy. That guy's a piece of shit. I'm not going to like go back on that if you go, hey man, if you be cool with that guy, we'll give you $2 million.
Right.
No, fuck that guy. Fuck that guy.
Well,
that's still on that shit. I'm not gonna change my. I said, can I pretend to be cool, but it's still fuck that guy? Because if not, it's not gonna. And I don't know. Same thing. I was anti-vax the whole time. After about month 2, I knew that COVID was BS. I really think the saddest thing we could do as a society in America is take any leadership as far as things that are happening in the now and day to day from the baby boomer generation. They weren't taught how to think. They were taught what to think. And now these people are in charge, basically. People in their 70s and 80s are running the fucking country.
Yeah. Well, because like...
Which is ridiculous because in the private sector, they've been pushed out of the door already. Yeah. But they're still running the whole country. I think that's fucking hilarious. Think about that shit. When you're in your 70s and shit, they'll start sniffing around saying, hey, man, don't you want to retire? I got an uncle. They came and asked him. He wanted to retire like in his... I think in his early 60s. Like he worked for like the city of LA and they asked him to retire and it was just like on some, I think they give you a couple extra bucks to leave. Like, no. Like, but I know that's how they do people once they get of a certain age. So with all that being the case, I don't understand why the people that run, like Dianne Feinstein and Barbara Boxer, these fucking walking mummies.
Yeah, it's like Pelosi, and then fast forward to now you have AOC.
Pelosi's
it's like
fucking shaking around like a broke mini bike. She's just sitting there shaking at the podium. She's one of the worst things ever, by the way. Her and her old man. The level of corruption now, and it's because of the internet, is so out in the open. That's why there's such a hard line between left news and right news. Even though we know it's all the same group of bad guys, there's no real left and right. It's all the same people. But
and every issue forces you optically to the average person to one side or the other, which is what I hate.
To make a decision.
Which isn't how it should be.
No.
It really shouldn't, because it's like two people say the sky blue. Oh yeah, but you're conservative or Republican or whatever. It's like, but because you said it's blue, now that's bad. That kind of thinking is not just tribalistic. It's just it's moronic, and it's anti-truth. It's just about what your side, their side.
If you look at any kind of psychology, when people do psychology on movements and people that in mass and political shit, it's always and marketing. Yeah. It's always say, okay, we got to figure out how people think, and then that's where it goes. It goes to what you were just saying.
Yeah.
It's just bullshit. We know it's bullshit. It's a complete and total deception. What's that old line Carlin used to say? There's 32 fucking flavors of ice cream, but there's only 2 political parties.
Yeah, exactly.
There's like 15 car makes, and there's like he
was so ahead of the curve on shit, man. Or curb,
he just blew his heart out with really, really good coke. Let me tell you something, dude. There's only so many cocaine heart attacks you can have.
Yeah.
And that's what those guys were getting. Those guys were just doing real Johnny Depp level blow. Shout out to Pee Wee Herman. Rest in peace, Paul Rubin.
Rest in peace, man.
Rest in peace. I was a lifelong fan. Mm-hmm. Hey, John B.
Yeah.
I used to watch that shit every Saturday as a child. El Hombre. I remember Lawrence Fishburne was on there, and Cyndi Lauper sang the music in the beginning.
Like, weren't you saying Lawrence was on there before? Like that was his pre-Matrix thing, and then he didn't work for a while, or was that another project?
Lawrence Fishburne was once known as Little Larry Fishburne.
That's what it was.
He was a kid.
Yeah.
When he was a little kid,
actor.
He's 20 years older than me. He was a little kid, and he did a movie called Cornbread Earl and Me, and he was a little boy. He was a child actor, and he was always around, and he worked in his 20s and 30s, and then Boys in the Hood was the next big thing that you knew. I mean, he did other really good shit. I'm not going to just do him like that. And then he did other stuff after that. And I think they said that like playing Ike Turner, he played Ike Turner so well that people just like the disgust that they had for Ike Turner, they just pushed it towards Lawrence Fishburne.
Sure.
And then he went from Larry Fishburne to Lawrence Fishburne. That was a real thing. And then he came back as Morpheus, and that was like so Lawrence Fishburne has had like 4 or 5 lives through Hollywood so far. He hasn't just been like he was young, and now he's done so many. I've watched him on the screen my entire life. He's been in front of me my whole life.
Yeah.
Man, and he's awesome.
Great actor.
I met him a couple times. He's a really nice guy.
Yeah, he seems cool. He's
really nice.
Because people who get really big but are like I mean, I've seen a couple weird behaviors afterward, but for the most part, he seems like a cool guy. Like Harrison Ford, like I think he'd be cool.
He's in his 80s.
But yeah, he's pretty old now.
He's in his 80s.
I did see the new Indiana Jones. Have you seen the new one? Dial of Destiny or whatever the heck?
The last Indiana Jones movie I saw was with him and Sean Connery. I don't mean to be a dick. I wasn't a huge fan of that particular franchise. I liked Raiders of the Lost Ark and all that shit. Dr. Jones! I liked all that shit.
Temple of Doom.
Temple of Doom, but I was a little kid.
Watch that on VHS.
It was whatever. He was Han Solo to me. Yeah. So, you know what I mean? He was always Han Solo to me. I couldn't get into, and I mean, I'm American Graffiti old. I remember him driving the 55 fucking Bel Air. I never really I'm one of those people that I can only ascribe my movie stars to like one franchise. So like,
I get that.
So like, as much as badass as John Wick is, he's always going to be Neo to me. No matter what Lawrence Fishburne does or has done, he's Morpheus to everybody, and I think that's a cool one to get stuck with.
He's always
Michael Richards is Kramer. That's just how it's going to be, and you can call anybody all the niggers you want to. You're going to be Kramer till you die, so embrace it.
Yeah. I was going to joke. I always picture Keanu Reeves as Bill and Ted, or I forget which one he is, but like as like Keanu Reeves. I think somebody made a meme out of that as John Wick.
Was it Theodore Logan. He was Theodore Logan, too. He was Ted.
Yeah.
And then the other guy was William S. Preston Esquire. I mean, it was ridiculous. But I love that shit. And he wasn't even.
Those movies were great.
They were great. But that's just how it goes. I can't give like one guy too many franchises. Like The Rock. The Rock's starting to piss me off.
Oh, he's always. I'm sorry. I don't like people where like it's all ego all the time. Like Schwarzenegger, at least in his roles, showed another side to him. But The Rock, I'm just like, oh, here's the I assume steroided up.
Oh yeah, hey man, and he lies about his stats. There's no way he's fucking 6'6". I'm gonna send you a link. Post it on here while I'm talking.
All right.
There's Nate Diaz and his brother walking right by him, and him and Nate Diaz are the same height. Nate Diaz is listed as like 6'2.5" or 6'3". Him and The Rock are the same height, and The Rock looked. They punked him out. Nick walked past him and he didn't even look at him because they fight for real and they'll fuck that dude up. That's one. And two is I heard some pretty troubling things. There's some kind of a lawsuit going on about some kidnap and pedophilia, possible rape stuff involving The Rock.
With him? Shit.
Yeah.
Him directly or like his company?
Him directly.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson named in $3 billion kidnapping lawsuit as disturbing video resurfaces.
Oh, shit.
According to documents, Dwayne The Rock Johnson has been named as a defendant in a kidnapping lawsuit as old videos of the wrestler resurface on social media.
Damn, dude.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson has recently been listed as a defendant in a $3 billion kidnapping lawsuit, according to court documents found online. Tranisha Biggers, and I could have so much fun with
I was
that
about
name,
to say.
known as Raka Khan by Impact Wrestling fans, a former WWE and TNA Impact Wrestling star, listed several high-profile individuals and companies in the kidnapping case.
Shit.
Some of the names and institutions include the FBI, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, sororities, Home Depot, Universal Studios, SeaWorld, Delta Airlines, Bank of America, Pfizer Labs, Tyra Banks, Naomi Campbell, Warner Brothers, Michael Jordan, Loyola, McDonald's, CNN, Fox News, and more.
We still crazy, motherfuckers? Like, what the fuck? It's all the blue chip stocks. That's fucking nuts.
On April 1st, 2023, the lawsuit by former WWE star and ex of Kurt Angle, this is Kurt Angle's ex-girlfriend, against Dwayne The Rock, is allowed to move forward for allegedly trying to kidnap her and her children using CPS and the FBI and the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children.
Fuck, dude.
Omega Psi Phi fraternity was involved in this. Well, this is getting deep. The defendants named collectively conspired to kidnap plaintiff and her two children from Brighter Tomorrow's domestic violence shelter. The document reads, plaintiff and her children were hunted down after plaintiff filed congressional inquiries regarding military sexual assault and violence.
Fuck, dude.
None of this gets reported.
No, not at all. And there was
I've never heard any of this before.
Well, and there was a whole, because you remember the Finders case from like the 80s? You ever heard about that? I forget the details with it, but it was a huge child trafficking thing that got exposed or whatever. But yeah, like with this one, you saying like the FBI is involved with it, it's like not shocking, and yet it is, because I've heard of so many things and come across so much shit where it's like, oh, the FBI was involved, oh, the CIA was involved. In fact, they were running the whole thing, or they were making money off the whole thing. Man,
how it's turning out is like the FBI and the CIA are the biggest. That's what all the sex trafficking is about. There's something coming out now about that if they had an informant or somebody they were working with, this was on a high level, and one of the things that they required to do what they asked them to do was like the right to abuse a child and to give them a child to do it. Like that was a part, like it's some fucked up shit going on a very high level. Also, I'm hearing that like Epstein was really running a blackmail ring.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, that's not new.
But he was a CIA asset.
Oh, sure. Yeah, yeah.
And
MI6, Mossad.
And the reason why he was never prosecuted, it wasn't
ones,
just because like if he had evidence on certain people, he was unprosecutable.
Yeah.
That was the whole, it was basically an entire honeypot scenario for the CIA, and he was the go through man. That's why he just had these are the people that could just give you all the money you want. I mean, they could just direct money to you. They could give you all the money you want, and they did. They could just give you all of somebody else's money. Well, that guy's about to die. I'll give you all his money.
Yeah, it's fucked, man. And it's like, the Ellen show was a huge wake-up call because, like, the
That
set,
bitch right there.
the set, man, to a T. Then Oprah with that clip about her talking about, 7-year-olds, like, oh, they can enjoy it or whatever the fuck.
Hire somebody you respect or maybe even love. And it feels good. I mean, if you're 7 years old and somebody, which I was trying to say this to my friends who had children, you're 7 years old and someone is stroking your penis, it feels good. Even though you don't have a name for what that is, it feels good. And when I first said this years ago, people were like, you're crazy because everybody wants to believe it's like sexual assault and you're being thrown up against the wall and you're being raped. And I have said for years, if the abuser is any good.
It's them mocking us now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and then, the problem is it all links with all of it. And so they tried to, that's what I wanted to bring up. So the main, like, I think ABC news anchor it was who debunked supposedly Pizzagate and all that shit just got busted for, I shouldn't be smiling, but he got busted for child pornography. Yeah. And so it becomes so blatant, and ABC was the same network. I forget the name of that anchor who they sat on the story. She, the footage came out. She's like, yeah, we sat on the story for 3 years. They wouldn't let me do it. And she's like, now everybody's talking about it.
I've had the story for 3 years. I've had this interview with Virginia Roberts. We would not put it on the air. First of all, I was told, who's Jeffrey Epstein? No one knows who that is. This is a stupid story. Then the palace found out that we had her whole allegations about Prince Andrew and threatened us a million different ways. We were so afraid we wouldn't be able to interview Kate and Will that also quashed the story. And then Alan Dershowitz was also implicated in it because of the planes. She told me everything. She had pictures. She had everything. She was in hiding for 12 years. We convinced her to come out. We convinced her to talk to us. It was unbelievable what we had. Clinton. We had everything. I tried for 3 years to get it on, to no avail, and now it's all coming out, and it's like these new revelations, and I freaking had all of it. I'm so pissed right now. Like, every day I get more and more pissed because I'm just like, oh my God, what we had was unreal. Other women backing it up. Hey, yep. Brad Edwards, the attorney, 3 years ago, saying there will come a day when we will realize Jeffrey Epstein was the most prolific pedophile this country has ever known. And I had it all 3 years ago.
But you can tell how they think about it. They don't go, oh, the kids, or they worry about it. They go, oh, I wanted to be the one to break the story. We weren't allowed to break it. Now it's broken. You know what I mean? And it's just like, fuck you guys. Don't give a shit.